Hello, my name is Sonia. Now I would like to deliver about my presentation analysis poem Out by Robert Frost. Now we move to introduction in extrinsic elements of poetry. Out by Robert Frost, taken from Mountain Interval, it is a tragedy of rural life gaining universal significance, for it reveals man's limitation and the necessity of reconciling with the inevitable, the decision of a countryside living in a tragic form illustrated in a significant manner. And the next is a popularity of the poem is written by Robert Frost, a great American poet. This poem is a narrative poem with themes of sympathy and pain. Now there is a major themes death, child labor, and fragility or of life are the major themes of this poem. Robert Frost has highlighted the issue of child labor in this short poem. Now we move to intrinsic elements of poetry. There are symbolism is the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meanings that are different from their literal meanings. Here, sunset symbolize the end of the young boy's life. And the next is onomatopoeia. It refers to the words related to the natural sounds of animals or objects. The poet has used the words bass, snarled, and rattled are examples of onomatopoeia. And there are also imagery. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. For example, in the sentence, the bus so snarled and rattled in the yard, and the sentence, and made dust and dropped of length stitch of wood, and with the sentence, the doctor put him in the dark of either. Now we move to personification. Okay, personification is to give human qualities to inanimate object. For example, in the sentence, in the word the soul, which is compared to a buzzing sound, is personified. The sentence is the bus so startled and rattled in the yard, and made dust and dropped stove length stitch of wood. And there are a sentence. A sentence is the repetition of vowel sounds in the same line. For example, the sound of O in the sentence, and make dust and drop stove length stitch of wood, and the sounds of I in the sentence, he lay and puffed his lips out with this breath. And there are alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in the same line in quick succession, such as the sound of s in the sentence, sweet scented stuff when the bees drew across it. Now we move to consonants. Consonants is the repetition of consonant sounds in the same line. For example, in the sentence, in the sound of T in the sentence, the doctor when he comes, don't let him, sister, and the sound of V in the sentence, he must have given the hand, however it was. And repetition, there is a repetition of the first. In the sentence, the bus so snarled and rattled, has created a musical quality in the poem. The next is a refrain. The refrain are the lines that are repeated at some distance in the poem are called refrain. The first is the bass, so snarled and rattled, is repeated, repeated with the same words. It has become a refrain as it has been repeated in the first and seventh line of the poem. And the next, there are instruments. It is defined as a thought or clause that does not come to an end at a line break. Instead, it moves over the next line. Next, there are free verse. Free verse is a type of poetry that does not contain pattern of rhyme or meter. This is a free verse poem without a strict rhyme or meter. And the last is stanza. A stanza is a poetic form of lines and verses. The poem is a long narrative poem of 34 lines with no stanza break. Okay, now in the next slide, we move to the message from the poem is the poet's glaringly obvious message in this poem is about a fragility of life that continues to be as relevant today as it was then. The poem is about a young boy who loses his life in an accident. The lack of focus and the boy's carelessness causes the fatal accident. This is a message we should all be more conscious of in our modern world, where people so often take life for granted. The poem also highlights what people feel about the young boy's passive and also death. Okay, now we move to a poem Not Be the Same by myself. Okay, I will read the poem. I started walking. I glanced right and left. Face I don't recognize. Third. I pushed my suitcase slowly towards the cabin, looking for the seat number, and take a breath. Sitting on a cloud, looking up at the sky clumping like pearls of cotton. The small window gives a beautiful view. Ding dong, ding dong. The voice of the unknown comments welcome the arrival which I was waiting. I have left all tiredness. Brush, brush. The sound of the waves hitting the reef incessantly. I breathe the fresh air here. I'm sick of being in the middle of facts, pretending to smile as if it's one way. They are no longer the same as when I first met them. We know that the seasons change every year. We also know that the time is constantly running. Cars, motorcycles, and bikes with wheels that keep turning. The streets that are sometimes busy and sometimes normal every day. When morning comes with the sun and alternately night comes with the moon. So why always think that everything is the same? Everything is not be the same. Readable flat face. Some of them seem to show lies in a blanket. Some more show bullshit kindness. If the season could change, the rain could stop. Living things could change too. Plants that blooms beautifully in the garden, they like a lot, but not with damaged plants. See how clearly visible the forms of the groups. Looks good in front, but like courses in the heart. There are many kinds of max. Not many times are deceived by its beauty. Time goes on, showing the true nature of what is hidden. Like an actor who plays well, knows everything but acts normal. Those people are clearly showing the truth, hiding, faintly covered again carefully, but the wind carried its fragrance through the air. This characteristic is familiar to the five senses. Okay, now we move to analyze a poem Not Be the Same by myself. There is a metonymy in line 3 with the sentence I push my suitcase slowly towards the cabin, looking for the seat number and take a breath. And in the line number 4, there is a simile in the sentence sitting on a cloud, looking up at the sky, clumping like peels of cotton. And in the line number 5, there is a metaphor in the sentence the small window gives a beautiful view. And in the line number 6, in the sentence ting nong ting nong ting nong, the voice of unknown comments welcome the arrival which I was, there is a metonymy. And we move to line number 10. There is a hyperbole in the sentence I'm sick of being in the middle of facts, pretending to smell as if it's one way. And in the number 14, there is a metaphor in the sentence cars, motorcycles, and bikes with wheels that keep turning. And we move to number 20. There is a hyperbole in the sentence some of them seem to sew lies in a blanket. In the number 22, in the sentence if the seasons could change, the rain could stop, living things could change too, there is a personification. And also in the number 23, there is a personification in the sentence plants that blooms beautifully in the garden, they like a lot but not with damaged plants. And in the number 25, there is a simile in the sentence looks good in front but like courses in the heart. And number 28, there is a metaphor in the sentence time goes on, showing the true nature of what is hidden. And we move to number 29. There is a simile in the sentence like an actor who plays well, knows everything but acts normal. And we move to the last line. In the line 31, there is a hyperbole in the sentence hiding, faintly covered again carefully, but the wind carried its fragrance through the air. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I'm Sonia. Goodbye.